So these readings, both the first reading and the gospel, speak very pointedly about character. Who are you really? And do you know when we find out who a person really is? We find out who a person really is when they suffer. When things are easy, you can pretend to be anybody. But when things get hard, who you really are comes out. Some people, when things get hard, they fold. They run away. They abandon their family or their friends. They lie, they cheat, they steal. When things are good, they would never do that, but when things are bad, they do that. Other people, when things are bad, they get hard. They lock down and they say, I will not be beaten. I will not cheat. I will not lie. I will not steal. I will not gossip about my neighbor. I will not cheat on my spouse. I will not disobey my parents, even though things are hard. I'm not going to do it. That's good character. That's a strong person. That's a noble person. Right? But we have to be trained in our character. It doesn't just happen. We have to be trained. And just like going to the gym makes us stronger for the times when we need to use our strength, so also the season of Lent, which we're about to enter into, makes us stronger spiritually for the times in our lives when we need to exercise Christian strength, Christian character, Christian determination. Right? So, I want to talk about three things today, very briefly, in order to prepare ourselves for Lent. There's not a person in this room, I know there are people in this room who don't understand what I'm saying right now, but there's no person in this room to whom this does not apply. Okay, so this is good for everybody. So, if you're sitting next to somebody you know doesn't understand me, this is going to be very simple. I want you to remember it, and I want you to tell it to them. Comprende? Is that the right comprende? Yeah. Yeah, good. Or it's Italian. I don't know. I get what little Italian and what little Spanish I know, I get them mixed up all the time. Very good, because I'm not very smart, but that's the story for another time. So, three things. These are the pillars of the Christian life. This is true all year long, but specifically during Lent, we want to focus on these three things. The first one, prayer, oración, right? The second one, fasting, or just one. Ayuno. Okay, oración, ayuno, y almsgiving. No, penitencia. Charity. Caridad. Caridad. Yeah, caridad. Okay, these three things. These are what we're focusing on in Lent. Now, all the time, every moment of every day, a Christian needs to be ready to do these three things: prayer, fasting, almsgiving. Okay. But for a reason, we have to know why we do them, and then we have to know how to practice them so that we can get stronger, so that when it happens. Now, a boxer, right, a guy who's going to fight, right, if he knows he's going to fight, what does he do first? He practices, he trains, he lifts weights, he gets strong. He looks like Jesus back there. That's what he does before he get. Yeah, I know. Turn around. I see you back there. Strong dude. So you practice and you get your strength up so that you can be ready for the fight, right? Every Christian needs to hear Jesus say, "Take up your cross daily and follow me." If you don't carry your cross, you're not worthy to be my disciple. That's a hard thing to do. So what do we need to do? We need to practice and we need to train, right? And Lent is a good opportunity to do that, to get us ready for the day-to-day struggles of a Christian. God could ask us to do anything at any point. We have to be ready to do it. So we practice, we train, we get strong, right? So for Lent, we want to ask ourselves, how do I normally pray? What does my usual prayer look like? And take a look at your usual prayer and say, where is it weak? Okay? Maybe you pray the rosary every day, but that's all you do. You only pray the rosary, right? So what can you do? Maybe you could read some scripture. Maybe you could sit in silence and meditate. Maybe you could, pray a novena. Maybe you could come to the church and pray a holy hour before the Blessed Sacrament. Maybe you can come to daily Mass. Some of you are retired, or some of you don't work in the morning, and you don't come to daily Mass, maybe because you never thought about it. We have Mass every morning at 9 a.m. It's in English, but you get over that. You learn how to do that. How many of you know what to say if I say the Lord be with you? Anybody? And with your spirit, right? It's difficult. It's funny, because like the kids, they speak English, right? They go to school in English. They learn in English. They come to confession. They do everything in English. They even read their act of contrition in English. But when I go to tell them what prayers to say for their penance, they're like, huh? Because they only pray in Spanish, right? So I say, do 3 Our Fathers, and they're like, what? I said, Padre Nuestro, excusi, right? And so it's important to be able to, y'all live here. This is your home. I'm glad this is your home. I'm glad you're here. But think about the limited opportunities you have to pray with the wider community if you don't know how to respond to the Mass in English, right? And we want our kids to know how to do that too. So when they grow up and they have friends who are English speaking and they go to Mass in English, they can go to Mass with them, right? So this Lent, maybe this Lent you figure out how to do some of your prayers in English. Just a possibility, right? This just occurred to me. I'm not like planning. This is not a bait and switch. I'm not planning anything cunning for you. I'm just thinking out loud, right? Maybe you come to Mass for Lent. Maybe you come to Sunday Mass in English. Maybe you come to a daily Mass in English and you learn how to do the responses in English. Maybe you learn how to pray the Our Father in English, or the Hail Mary, or the whole Rosary. Pray the whole Rosary in English. Then you can come to the English-speaking Rosary and you can pray the Rosary with the English folk, or the English-speaking folk, right? Just a possibility. I could say the same thing to the other community too. But I'm just talking to y'all, right? So this is a way to think about, okay, for Lent, what am I going to do that's going to make me a better Christian in this time and place in my prayer? And you know what? In this place in the United States, knowing how to pray in English will make you a better member of the Christian community in this time and place. It's true. It's just a matter of fact, right? So think about that, okay? So that's prayer. Then we have fasting. How do you say fasting again? Ayuno. Okay, ayuno. So fasting for no reason at all is just starvation. Okay, that's not good. Nobody wants to starve. Starvation is bad. Food is good, okay? But when we fast for a reason, okay, and we offer that reason up, when we make space for the Lord, that has benefit, okay? When we fast correctly, what we're doing is we're saying, all the good things I have in my life, I'm going to make some room for the Lord to fill that space. I'm going to take something good out of my life and I'm going to put it on the shelf for 40 days. And I'm going to let the Lord fill that space. I'm going to do 2 things personally for Lent. I'm going to tell you what it is because you'll see kind of what I'm talking about if you understand this. So the late evenings are my favorite time of the day. It's when it's like my only sort of almost guaranteed, semi-guaranteed time where I can have me time from like 8 to 10. That's it, right? And I love it. It's great. It's important to me. I love it. My favorite thing to do is to sit on the back porch. Summer, winter, doesn't matter. Sit on the back porch. You guys are going to hate me for this. You're going to judge me. You're going to say, oh, what a terrible priest this is. I can't believe we listen to what he says. But I'm going to tell you honestly. Favorite thing to do is sit on the back porch, have a cigar, drink a glass of whiskey, and watch YouTube. I know. I'm a terrible human being. God made me a priest. I'm a priest, but I'm a terrible human being. I admit it freely. These are the things I like to do. Now, what I'm going to do for Lent, because this is how I like to spend my evening, it's very passive, though. It's very habitual. I don't do a lot of thinking, and I don't think that's the way the Lord wants me to rest and recreate, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off YouTube, no YouTube for Lent, and no alcohol. So I don't know what I'm going to do. But what I'm doing, look at what I'm doing though. This is my goal. This is what I'm going to hope the Lord responds to, okay? This is my goal. I'm going to take out some of the things that I'm comfortable with, some of the things I'm used to. I'm going to move them. I'm going to get them out. Throw them away for a little while, okay? And I'm just going to leave an empty space there. I don't know what I'm going to do for the evening. I'm kind of scared about it, to be honest with you. So I don't know what my evenings are going to look like now. But I'm inviting the Lord to fill that space with something better. Right? That's what we look for when we fast. For the Lord to fill the space that we give up with something better. Okay? Prayer, fasting, and then almsgiving, charity, okay? Now, you guys are very generous. You're generous with each other. You're generous with this community, this parish, right? But this Lent, I want you to think in a particular way, a specific way, about the corporal and spiritual works of mercy. Now, just one person, how do you say corporal works of mercy? Do you know what I'm talking about when I say those things? Like feeding the hungry, clothing the naked. Caridad de cuerpo, de physical. Yeah, okay. And then there's caridad de spiritual, okay? Right? So like instructing the ignorant, admonishing the sinner, comforting the sorrowful, okay? I wish I knew what those were in Spanish so that I could tell you. But there are 14 of these, okay? Did you say what they were? Obras de misericordias. The works of mercy. Yeah, obras de misericordia. Look at that. Obras de misericordia, okay? There's 14 of those. 11, 12, 13, 14 of the obras de misericordias, okay? I want you to learn those, okay? I want you to be able to say all of them like this, okay? So in the morning when you wake up in Lent, I want you to think about them. Go through all 14 of them and say, Lord, I'm ready to do any one of these things that you put in my way today. I'm going to be open to them. I'm not going to look for them. I'm just going to be open. And when I see them, I'm going to go do them. I'm going to take it as an invitation by the Holy Spirit to go do them. That's practicing awareness. It's practicing spiritual awareness so that day to day, outside of Lent, day to day, when you see something in need, you just go. Christians are like firemen, okay? When there's a fire, firemen run to the fire. Christians are supposed to be like spiritual firemen. When there's sadness, we run to it. When there's brokenness, we run to it. When there's poverty, we run to it, right? I'll fix this, me, because Jesus made me a Christian, right? And we want to practice that, okay? So here's my challenge, okay? Now you can do whatever you want, okay, for Lent. You can do whatever you want for Lent, but here's my challenge, okay? 3 things. 1, learn some of your prayers, or even the whole Mass, how to respond to the Mass in English. That's challenge number 1. Again, you don't have to do this. It's just a challenge, okay? Number 2, fasting. Come up with something in your life that you do all the time without thinking. Maybe it's doom scrolling on Facebook or something. Put it aside for 40 days. Leave an empty space in your life to let the Lord fill with whatever he wants. Okay? Even if it's scary, give it a try. And then the third thing is learn the 14 obras de misericordia. Learn all 14 of them in your mind. Know what they are. And be open to them every day. And see if you can respond with dynamism, with energy each day during Lent to whatever the Lord puts in your life. Can we do that? Cool.